All right, so I think we're live and ready with yet another week of how we're going to help you get more leads, close more sales, and improve your profitability without spending extra time on marketing or ads. And if you've been following along for the last couple of weeks, we've been breaking down all the key pieces that are in my Marketing Moneysaver 2.0. I wanted to take another look at how we could deliver better value, better results with less effort. So I think if we can do a couple of those things, then we're doing our job. So if you need a copy of that because you haven't downloaded it yet, there's a post that's pinned in this group at the top. Just it's one of our posts where it talks about how you can get some to the free resources that are available for being a member of this group. So just drop a comment below in here or drop a just hey, send it to me in the pin post and we'll make sure we get it to you. Make sure you have what you need. But in the last couple of weeks, we've talked about a couple of things that, again, there's a couple of strategies we unpack inside the Marketing Moneysaver 2.0. A couple weeks ago, we talked about some of the ways that you can leverage your Google business profile. And because we find that there's so many things that most people are missing when it comes to that. Again, doesn't cost you a thing, but there's just so many little nuances within how that profile works to help you drive more calls and leads to your business. Last week, we really unpacked and went deep on how to leverage the power of Facebook groups. And I just see so many guys get this wrong, or they're frustrated. They're not getting as many leads as they want, or certainly should, if they just show up and implement some of the things we talked about. So if that's something that's interesting to you, check out last week's video. It's all there for you. And I've got a couple of other bonuses inside to help you get what you need there. But today, we're going to talk about how to supercharge your customer referrals and reviews. We all love referrals. Why? Because there's some implicit trust that we're able to get from referrals. And so they end up closing at a lot higher rate. They tend to not beat us up on price. They tend to just sign up and go by comparison. Certainly there's some that we need a little bit of heavy lifting depending on the quality of the referral or the introduction. But we know compared to anybody just cold off the street, they tend to work out better. And so if you're not getting as many of those as you'd like, or certainly feel like you should, then we're going to give you a couple things to help you in just a few minutes to improve your process or the ways you're going about getting those referrals and reviews to help you get more of them on autopilot. So it's actually, and in a way, as I've been working on this and helping contractors with this for going on several years now, it's almost so easy. I'm almost embarrassed to have to teach it, but I just come across so often that there's just some of these small pieces that are missing. So we're just gonna bring it out into the open and issue a little bit of a challenge if you're up for it. And your mission here, should you choose to accept it, is going to be to try these changes out right away and measure the impact, because that's usually where things get missed in the midst of all the other things we're juggling. And I get that. So that's why we want to give you a couple of simple frameworks. So with that said, let's jump into and just take a quick reference to the guide that we put together and made available to you. So if we want to get more referrals and supercharge them, so they're not just regular referrals, but they end up converting at a higher rate, let's talk to, again, we talked about last couple of weeks. We worked through Google Business Profile, Facebook groups. Again, this is the guide that you can get your free copy of. They have some bonus videos, all that good stuff. So this one is, all right, let's talk to our past clients. And this is something that hopefully you've done at least once or several times or do to some extent. But how often and how are you asking your current or recently completed projects and clients for referrals and reviews? And hopefully this is something you're doing at least a little bit, but if it's just you and your business, or if you've got a team, I'd want you to take a look at and think really honestly how that process is trained and executed and measured. Is everyone using a standardized script? Are they following a specific process in the way that they ask for those referrals and reviews? And here's one of the unlocks that every time I share this or have a conversation with contractors about how they're going about it, that tends to get missed, that can make the world of a difference. And it's really just one key simple word change in your ask. So just as a little bit of an example, so that we know that typically at the end of a project, at some stage, someone should be doing a walkthrough. It's just a final walkthrough. Here's what we did. Let's go through all this particulars. Let's make sure we got everything done the way they wanted it to be done. They're happy with the results, that everything's handled, and they're excited about the work that you did. They're good with the quality. They're good with everything, all the things that were done. And we go through that because ideally, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to get a really clear picture if there is any feedback that they have or questions or concerns, and we're able to address them and get get them rectified. But more often than not, again, if we did our homework right on the front end, then those reviews are just a really great way to bookend the project. And we go through that to get the homeowner in a really positive state, meaning we're trying to get them to really acknowledge and say the words out loud that, wow, I'm really happy with the way things went. So excited about this new thing, my new kitchen, my new bathroom, my new AC unit, whatever it was that we finished or installed for them. We want them to get the work to a place where they are telling us or our team how happy they are with the outcome. Once we've done our job to do that and gone about it and gotten them into that place where they communicate it, now's the time when we ask for the reviews and the referrals. So and in a separate video, we go through some of the specific review scripts. So again, we won't cover that now, but want to really lean into the referral piece next. What usually happens, if at all, consistently, hopefully, again, every single time, there's some question or some version of something like, do you know anyone who might also need some work done? That's fine, but it's only going to go so far. The one word change that I want you to implement with that question, instead of just, do you know anyone? Do you know anyone? It's, who do you know? It's not do you, it's who. That question drives a more specific response. The do you is an easy thing to say yes or no, but asking them, who do you know, puts the homeowner in more of a, I need to think of a name. I need to think of a name. And who do you know that could use a project, who would be open to talking with us? Because we want to help people just like you have a great experience with their contractors or with their home projects. So we know that not everybody has those great experiences. Since you just told us you had a great one, who do you know that might also be thinking about getting some work done? That's going to drive a lot higher level of referrals. And the goal from those conversations should be to leave with no less than 2 to 3. And you can even say, who do you know that might need some help with the projects? Would love it if we could talk to at least 2 or 3 people, or 5 or 6. You'll find that the higher number you ask for, the more people you're going to get. Shocker, I know. You may not always get as high as the number you ask, but if you ask for 5, you probably will get 2 or 3. If you ask for 2, you might get 1. So think about what the right sweet spot is for you based on the project you just did and the customer themselves and the rapport that you've built. But that's the key question. Change it from do you know anyone to who do you know? And you'll see just a huge lift in how many referrals you walk away from. And then there's some secondary steps after you get those names. And let's find out, just based on the rapport, the best way to make that introduction. Hey, well, awesome. You told me about the Joneses and the Smiths, right? Well, would it be best if we just did a 3-way text introduction, or if we did an email? What would be the best way for us to help just connect and be able to share them out? Because you want to honor the relationship they have with the referral and show respect to it, but obviously drive it home and make sure that connection happens, or find the best way for them based on how they know them, for you to be able to get in the door, at least have a conversation or see what they might need. All right. So that's one of the things I want you to implement. Now, again, look at your script, look at how you're approaching that, and make it a consistent process that you're enabling, because you'll find if you're doing this right, you have a pretty good sense of what we call a referral conversion rate for every one of these conversations. You'll find that if it's just you right now, or if you got a team of 3 or 4 other people or more doing this inside your business, your conversion rates or your net referrals that come from every single completed project is going to vary based on who's doing it. And you want to be able to objectively have a standard for how that's done, so you can understand, well, what's guy number 1 doing that gal number 2 isn't, or what's their method that's getting better results and better outcomes. And so that's one of the other things that I find is often missing in most conversations I have with contractors about this specific strategy, is it isn't quite as documented or measured. And that's part of what we want to help you do here. So if you're not getting as many referrals from your homeowners that you'd like, that's really the next step for you to implement. Now, again, so before you finish today, in just a few minutes, send a text message, send an email out to 5 people that you haven't reached out to in a while. Even if it's been 6 months, a year, however long it's been, things change. Maybe the first time you asked them for it, they didn't have anything in mind, but hey, if it's been 6 months, it's been 3 months, it's been longer, good chance that by now somebody has come across their life that could use you. Or here's the other secret, they might even need a second project by now at this point, right? So it doesn't hurt you. So send those reach outs, see what you can find out, see what kind of things you need to rustle up. And inside the document, I'll show you. again, just as one of the other bonuses it's included for step 3, this video link right here is where we go into a real deep dive and detailed strategy. It's a little bit of a longer training, but it is go through more step by step, and it gets you to this video where we walk through some of the other ways you can implement what we call the 6-pack strategy, how to turn 1 lead into 6. So I've got a training in there for that for you. If that's something else that sounds interesting, check it out and let me know how it goes once you implement. We will see you next week. And I think we hit our mark. We got it right inside the 10 minutes. So catch you next time.